And we're live. Like the Oscars. The Oscars, what? Why do I care about the Oscars? I don't. Just don't care. Oh, look, I bet I got an email saying, you're live. Because I didn't know. Yep, that's what it said. You are live. Yes, I know I'm live. And I'm going to have some apple. I don't think there's a single person here, which is fine. It is Sunday night. And this is a spur of the moment. It's kind of late. What time is it? It's almost 10 o'clock. So anyway, as I'm chewing online live, kind of stupid. If y'all didn't know, I released my Hemera part cooling duct system. It's on Thingiverse in my mini factory, and I'll probably put it up on Colds and all the other ones. What is it? Pinterest or whatever. I gotta start using iImagine too, or Imagine, or whatever it's called. Although I don't know. Never really liked that one all that much. Yes, people really are watching the Oscars and no one's jumping into there. It's just one of them Sunday nights. No one's really streamed a lot this week. I don't know what happened to Josh. I haven't even heard from him. Josh Alien 3D. He usually streams 2 or 3 times during the week, and he hasn't streamed at all this week that I know of. Not a clue. I don't believe anyone else is streaming. Or are they? Let's go to YouTube and find out. I don't think anyone is. Nobody in my subscription bay anyways. Oh. I don't have everyone subscribed to it. I don't know why. I really should have more people subscribed to me. What is up, One Raz? Yeah, I don't see anyone else streaming, so whatever. You know how it goes. I'm having an apple, and it's a pink lady? Yeah, pink lady apple, whatever that is. So, I released my Hemera stuff. What's up, Dave? The Hemera setup. I'm actually going to do a video on mounting the block backwards. I really don't need to. But I'm getting a lot of people going, why did you mount it backwards? Oh, but it's not going to sit, and the heat break isn't going to be taken. Yes, it is. The heat break goes tight against the nozzle. The nozzle is closer to the block. Yes. There's still a gap there. It is tighter. Big deal. I don't know why they want such a big gap anyways. I think it's kind of pointless. There's got to be something behind it, because I'm sure E3D has way more technical engineering knowledge BS than I do. So there's a reason behind it. It may just be that they know some people are newbies and don't understand and just want to make sure the nozzle is in contact with the heat break, which is that's my guess, is they're leaving that gap to make sure, because I know a lot of people back in the day with the MK8s and the MK9s were always just, cranking it all in and then cranking the nozzle down, and they weren't really contacting. And they just assumed it was okay, and the heat break has to be in full contact with the face of the nozzle, or else you'll get leaks. And I had guys say, no, you don't. With the MK8s and the MK10s, the PTF E-tube goes down and hits and seals. And it's like, yeah, but the PTF E-tube is flexible. And even though you're only exposing a little bit, when you heat it up and you're pushing hot pressurized plastic through it, it's too flexible. It's not going to make a proper seal. The PTFE tube never actually fully seals against anything unless there's a backer to it. Because if you pull any, like the old MK8s, like this thing over here, this is an old MK8, which still, honestly, is one of my favorite extruders. I don't know why everyone bashed on it. If you set it up correctly, it's fine. Anyway, for PLA. It just works. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to do a little video on setting it up with it backwards and then using my little thing. Hey, that's not how it goes. It goes this way. Showing why and how and why I set it up that way and my thoughts and processes of making it. Blah, blah, blah. What is all, Paul? Oh my, what? No, this isn't actually a final. This is one of many iterations of it. I did not do this lightly. Here, I'll bring it out here so you can actually see. This was not a light design that I just whipped up overnight. This is taking me. I literally started doing this almost day one. Since I got the Humera and put it on my Core XY. And they're all very slightly different. And they all have different, a lot of them are mostly internal. That you can see, wow, that yellow blows out in the camera, huh? Let's get an intermediate color. You can sort of see in there. Some of these old ones, I have no channels inside. And I think I've talked about it before. I watched a guy who's all like an aero, hydro, whatever, fluid dynamic engineering type, whether it's air or fluid, or I think they still call it fluid dynamics or something. Anyways, he was talking about how you put a center channel in here because it stops the swirling and increases your pressure. But anyway, and it seems to have, because I've actually, since I started doing them, some of them I don't, and some of them I do have that center channel, and there is a noticeable speed, pressure, volume increase of airflow. And I've gone from wider to thinner to taller and thinner width, and I've done a lot of iterations of it. And the one I have now works pretty darn good. Matter of fact, this is actually pretty darn close to it. But it's also getting the two channels, and I don't know, can you see it? Because this is actually one of the better. When it, in the whatever you want to call this, there's a name for this area right here before it splits off into two. Plantrum? Something like that. Anyways, where it first comes out of the fan and then has to change direction and go into the two separate ducts. And actually, there's kind of four ducts because there's a split in the middle, air direction. And getting it to subdivide straight down the middle or close. And I actually discovered I didn't want it straight down the middle. I wanted more coming off the big one here and less off of this one because this is pushing enough air. Blah, blah, blah. That was more of what I did, was changing the angle of attack coming out of this arcing to get different end result. Blah. My jaw is extra clicky tonight. I don't know if you guys can actually hear my jaw snapping. My jaw snaps. Good apple. I like it. So what are you guys all up to? I'm guessing nobody is all that interested in the Oscars. You bought an apple? I thought you were like anti-apple. I taste apples. Oh, you are apple everything? So you're like me and Brian. My only kind of leaning away from Apple more and more. My next computer, I've been leaning heavily toward getting a PC this time. Because I still prefer Apple OS by and far. Yeah, I get secondhand. You know what I always do? Did you buy it direct from Apple? If you bought it direct from Apple and you haven't, if it hasn't shipped yet, go back and go to the very bottom of Apple's website and hit the refurbished and do an Apple refurb. If you do an Apple refurb, they have the same model you're looking to get, and it's refurbed. Buy their refurbed. Here's the deal with Apple and refurb. Apple hardware is a pain in the butt for them to ship around. They don't want it back. So if they find an issue with it and they refurbish it, they actually fix it. So if you get the refurb, now their refurbs, if you buy them direct from Apple, are not incredibly cheaper. What they are is exactly the price of the Apple Care. Oh, yeah. See, that's why I'm not big on the latest, greatest even with Apple anymore, because their latest, greatest isn't. That's my biggest problem with Apple now is when I first started using Apple's was the, ahead of the curve in hardware. When they were, the king of graphics stations, they were the king. They were the king of gaming. I remember the day when Apple was the gaming platform. Yeah, I try and buy everything refurbed. If I'm going to buy an Apple new product, I buy the refurbed and I get the extended warranty. And they price their refurbs exactly the extended warranty less than a new one. So you basically get a 2-year warranty with all kinds of. People don't realize when you get the Apple Care, you don't just get the 2-year warranty. You get butt kissing. And when I say butt kissing, Apple actually does butt kiss. I bought a laptop. My company paid for a laptop when I was out on Long Island doing the big thing. And everybody got PCs, and I did not want a PC. I wanted a Mac because I do Macs. And they're like, oh, you're nuts, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, I'll get better service, blah, blah. And they're like, well, they're so expensive. So I'm going to get a refurb. So the company paid for it. I got the extended warranty. They're like, oh, this, that, the other thing. It's a refurb. It's going to have problems. Well, it did. I had a couple pixels die in the screen. And I had something, I think this, like the hard drive wire kept coming off. And it was a laptop. Or they still have it. It's over there. It's pretty much useless because you can't run anything on it, but it still runs. It was one of the old iMac, iBook, whatever, white ones, little 13-inch. It was awesome. I mean, for what I was using it for at work, it was basically doing fancy spreadsheets. Little more than that, but kind of stuff I wrote myself and blah, blah, blah. Apple, when I called Apple, they're like, okay, blah, blah, it's under warranty. We'll take care of it. And I said, okay. And they go, oh, you have Apple Care? And I'm like, yeah. And they go, well, where are you? I said, I'm at the job site. And they, do you have an address? Can, we send a box to you? And I'm like, what do you mean? It says, well, we're going to send a shipping box to you. We're going to have you put the computer in the box, and we're going to take care of it. Take care of all the shipping and everything. Okay. So I said, yeah, there's a camper on site, because this is a big construction site with 200 or 300 homes and multiple layouts and basically a mini town under construction. I said, yeah, there's a camper. It has an address. Here it is, blah, blah. An hour later, I got a phone call from the office saying, there's a dude here waiting for your laptop in a box. And he waited there. And he picked it up, and it was I think it was DHL at the time. I think they use UPS now, but they picked it up. They took the box. I put the computer in the box. That night, I got an email saying it was in California. They'd received it. The next morning, it was shipped out to me. I had it the next day. I was without it for little over 24 hours or 48 hours. They took it that afternoon. They had all day the next day to repair it and ship it back, and then I got it the day after. They fixed the screen. They replaced the screen. There was 2 dead pixels in it. They replaced it. They said it was just a loose connection in the hard drive, but they didn't like the cable, so they replaced the cable. They buffed out the case. They had this list of little stuff that was like the rubber feet. Now, I was driving this thing around on a construction site. It sat on my van. It was far from well cared for in the sense of, the body was scratched up, and I'd had it for 6 months or so. It's a construction site laptop. Oh, they replaced the feet. They had buffed the case. The bezel around the screen, they said they could have reused, but it had too many scratches in it. They didn't feel safe sending it back. I mean, there was this list of stuff they replaced, fixed. And I had it back in less than 48 hours. That's service. That's what you pay for when you buy an Apple. Yeah. The new AppleCare, you got to watch that accidental damage. It's prorated. All right. They did that shortly after I had my issue with my laptop and got it. They only did 2 years on the laptops when I got it, and it was full coverage of everything. There was no accidental damage. They put the accidental damage on it, and then like a year later, they started saying, oh, the accidental damage is prorated, so for every year, you have to pay a portion of that, which is why I pay for the extended warranty in the first place then. Yeah, Apple, Apple takes care of you warranty-wise anyways. If you get that AppleCare extended warranty, they kiss your butt. Seriously. Especially like if you're an Apple person and you register all your hardware, when you go and, call them up and say, I have an issue. I mean, even with software, hardware, the actual operating system, the minute they say there's 2 things that they verify, that you've had multiple products. And I mean, they can go back all the way to my very first Apple II. It's listed. When they pull up my name and say, oh, I'm Tom, here's my Apple ID, they go, okay, you've had like 30 freaking Apple computers registered, iPhones and laptops and, all this hardware. They go, okay, this guy buys Apple, I'm going to kiss his ass. And then they see the AppleCare, they just kiss your butt. And they do. I mean, they take care of you. But sorry, I'm hungry. I got to eat. I've been trying to eat less, trying to eat a little better. It's late. I'm trying not to eat snacks, but better than cookies and potato chips. A little bit, at least. Still too much sugar, probably. But anyway, where was I? AppleCare. I'm kind of leaning away from Apple lately because their hardware is it's outdated. They're using 5-year-old technologies now and charging you 3 and 4 times as much money for it. I mean, I'm sorry, there is no Apple product that should have an i3 processor in it and cost, $700 or $800. It's just insane. I don't care what they have to be. Things should be gold plated for that kind of money. I'm sorry. I love Apple. I love Mac OS. Their hardware has gotten outdated and ridiculously overpriced. They're more worried about the damn phones and the iPads. And I have an iPhone, but I'll tell you what, I've had a Droid phone, and when it comes down to it, I could use either. I kind of prefer the iPhone only because I'm used to it. I had problems with the Droid, not because there was anything wrong with it. It was just because I wasn't used to how it worked. But it worked fine. Did everything this does. It was also the same price. The iPhone, everyone's like, oh, the iPhones are so expensive. Yeah, no. Some of the Samsungs are $1,000 when you get into the high-end Samsungs with all the fancy. This was $299. Brand new. It's an iPhone 8. I just bought it just a year, not even a year ago. Just before Thanksgiving, I got this. Because my iPhone 5s were just dying. And they were 6 years old, and I bought those 5 years old. And I bought those when, the iPhone 8 first came out. So it was already 3 or 4 versions behind. I don't know. It's overpriced for what you're getting. I mean, the new Mac Pro is a very nice piece of equipment. I think they finally listened to a pro user needs to be able to install video cards, do their own memory, be able to switch out and do things. It needs to be a rebuildable unit, but it's insanely overpriced. I mean, even for an Apple, it's insanely overpriced. And it's still a crappy, I think it starts with an i5 for a Pro for like $2,000. That's insane. I will say, all the years, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, I always had both. People are like, oh, you're a Mac fan. I've always had PCs too. Always had them there. Always used them. What's up, RC? We're getting really close to having this thing running. It's all hardware-wise, it's all set up. I got a few little tweaks I'll do, but I'll do that later. They're unnecessary. I think I'm going to wire it tomorrow. I was going to actually do that tonight. I'm just not in the mood. Just not in the mood for wiring. But this thing should be running by the end of the week with your awesome plate on it. And I did make the wire management little print thing for my wire management. This thing's freaking going together awesome, dude. Very nice plate. The only thing, like I said, we need to change is shift it so this upper screw is in the middle of the channel of the 2020. And it would be the bomb. Anyway, back on key. Yeah, it is starting to turn colors. I noticed that too. That's all right. I probably won't eat the whole thing anyways. It is pretty good though. I'm trying to think if I've ever had a pink lady apple. I don't know if you guys have gone in the grocery store. It used to be like Macintosh, Granny's. That was it. You had like 2 or 3. Now you go in there, it's like 20 or 30 varieties of apple. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool and everything, but which one do I want? I wish I was more geeky in the sense of firmware, software. Because to tell you the truth, I'd probably build a Hackintosh. I could build one now. I know I could, hardware-wise. So, I mean, I can get the case and, get a board and get the processor and hard drives, and I could build it physically. I also know I'd never get it running. I would never figure out. I mean, I've looked at all these guys and they're like, oh, it's real easy. And then they have this 45-minute list of steps to, basically fake the frickin' hardware into thinking it's a real Mac. Yeah, I've seen that. Linus Tech Tips are one of them. I watch him all the time. And he built it, and he says it's okay. I don't care about the case. I think that new case is butt ugly. I think that's I had one of the original cheese grater Macs. I liked that. I thought it was nice looking. I didn't think it was the greatest thing in the world, but it was all right. That's the only Mac I've ever had that truly died on me. The motherboard cracked on that, and that was it. I was like, nope. I had it back to service twice during service warranty because the motherboard kept cracking, and it wouldn't really crack. It would flex, and it would crack some of the traces along the motherboard. That's the only one I've ever had problems with. I had to go up in my attic because I still think I have a couple of. I have a 610 and a 605, I think, up in the attic from like mid 90s, and they're still up there. I just got rid of my Quicksilver, which I had forever. I gave it away. It still runs. My laptop over there still runs. I've had one laptop, which wasn't mine. It was my mother's, the 17-inch MacBook Pro. It was like one of the first MacBook Pros. That crapped out. It's been back to service. It was another one. Went back to service like 3 times. They took care of it every time, did all kinds of extras, but it's got a hinge problem, and it would break it was just a bad design. And for a freaking $6,000 laptop, it was $6,000 for that thing. And my Mac Pro, my G5 Mac Pro, the motherboard kept overheating and flexing. And after like the 3rd time, it wasn't under warranty. And I'm like, you know what? No. See ya. But it still lasts me 5 or 6 years. I've got minis laying around. This is actually, Brian Vine sent me this mini only because my old mini still runs. It's just so old. The graphics card is like way out of date, and it wouldn't play video. I couldn't play YouTube, anything over 720. It just wouldn't. I couldn't watch a YouTube video at anything above 720. The OS was like, it was stuck on like OS 10.2 or 10.4 because it was, it was like a 2001 or a 2002. I had it forever. He just sent me this. This is an old 2014. Yeah, no, they're not. My Blue Mac Pro I gave away to a friend that she kind of collects them, and she's helped me out, so it's not a big deal. It was only worth a couple $100 for the case. My aluminum Mac Pro, I actually got more money for it. I tried to sell it. I had it on like eBay, and then I put it on a few other places, and I had a cap on it for like $300. I got more money as aluminum scrap for it than I was offered for it. Taking it to the scrapyard. That particular model, because that was one of the Mac Pros that I got. I think I got it the second year it was out. And that motherboard was a known issue. The newer ones, the later ones, for one, it was a solar processor. I think it was a Dual 2.0. And that was the top of the line at the time I got it. The next year, they went up to like 3.5 or something. The 2.0 was the bottom of the line. And they jumped up big time the next year. I'm trying to remember exactly. Actually, I think it was a 1.8 was the bottom. The 2 was the middle. Anyway, it got outdated really fast, and it was a known problem with that particular version, that particular year. they fixed it the next year, the motherboard issue, but like everybody I know that had that particular model had the same freaking problem. The motherboard would overheat and it would flex and it would crack some of the traces and just stop working. What? You're working on a Creality printer? I mean, seriously? What about the Mini Squire or the Baby Squire, or isn't the Squire done yet? What the hell with this? Why? The mail just pops up. No apparent reason. What's up, Matt? You want to jump in? Jump in, Carl. I haven't had you in the chat in a long time. Come hang out. I'm not staying long. I'm already getting tired. I'll probably be in bed in a half an hour. Mandalorian, whatever. Anyone else want to jump in? Jump in. I didn't even see Michael here. Hey, Mr. Michael Fox. How's life? Yeah, I gotta finish this thing. Because although I keep saying I want to get rid of this. And then I started printing with it again yesterday. I haven't run this thing in like 3 weeks. Ever since I got the Hamera. Almost a month, over a month. Because I got the Hamera before Christmas. So we're pushing almost 2 months. Maybe even longer. Anyway. I've been running the Core XY with Hamera and the 0.8 nozzle to do freaking everything. I mean, all of these are done on Hamera. Every single one of them. I've been running on the Core XY with a 0.8 nozzle. Every single one of these was done on that. I haven't run this printer or that printer in months. I started running that, I don't know, 2 days ago. Do some of these little parts better because it's really thin and small. And I really don't want to make it any bigger and thicker to take the bigger nozzle. This is less, it's only 0.8. So it would be like one strip with the big nozzle and it just looks like crap. Where it's, it's 2 lines with the little nozzle. And man, I think it prints so nice. This printer really prints really, really nice. Doesn't do everything great, but little stuff, it does it really nice and really fast. The problem is even though it's got the SKR, it's got the SKR 1.3 with 2208s in it, it's so old and the bearings are so worn out, it's still loud movement. The actual X movement is freaking obnoxious. And I've put brand new bearings in it. I re-greased the bearings. I didn't replace the rods. I just rotated them. I don't know. People don't realize when they get bad scored rods, all you have to do is turn it 45 degrees. Lube your bearings and turn it 45 degrees. As long as the bearings aren't riding in that groove, they ride in a straight line. Turn that groove out of the way of the line, no more issue. It's still loud. Hey, there we go. I didn't even see you guys come in. We got 2 of them. We have a Carl and we have a Fox.
Greetings.
Greetings and salutations. Now I can eat some apple and you guys can talk.
Carl, you ain't got no sound.
Where's your sound, Carl?
1 second. I do that all the time. Only usually I forget to turn something off and you get a big echo. Well, Prusa number 2 is not feeling well.
Why? What happened?
Oh, I think I've got a bad thermistor in the bed.
It happens.
Yeah, well, it'll be printing along just fine, and I'll look at the graph on the.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
There we go. Yeah, sorry if there's a lot of background noise. I got everything printing right now. Other than the CRX that's still in pieces.
Yeah, but my Prusa, whenever this one right there, I'll watch the bed temperature, and then all of a sudden it'll drop like 5 degrees.
Now, is that a real Prusa or is that your make-believe Prusa?
That's one of the real ones. So, and I think it's freaking out the Einstein is what it's doing, because all of a sudden I'll look at the screen and it'll just have garbage on it. So I think it's freaking out the Einstein, and it's just shutting it down.
What do you mean freaking it out?
Unrecognizable characters. Even to say it was would be Russian or Cyrillic would be pushing it. But it just shuts down. Loses communications with the Raspberry Pi, and everything just drops.
This is a really good apple, I gotta say.
Yeah,
I'm not a big. I mean, it's weird. I go by like spells with fruit. Sometimes I really, really like it, and sometimes I don't. Most of the time, like an apple, I'll eat it. They're good. They're all right. This is a freaking good apple.
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah.
All right, done chewing on the apple. So anyway.
But yeah, the clone's still sitting here.
Well, why isn't it done yet?
Well,
What the hell, lazy bones?
I'm in the middle of calving season, so my time is, calving. Baby calves hitting the ground.
Oh, calving. I thought you said cabbing, like driving a cab. I'm like, what the hell is calving season?
Well, calving season pretty much dominates every free moment. So, in fact, I'm supposed to be in bed right now as it is. But, hey, I saw my friend Tom was on live, so I haven't talked to Tom in a while, so I'll drop in here and talk to him.
Yeah, it's kind of funny here. I never even realized you actually did farming. I knew you were in farming location, but I didn't realize you were an actual farmer. But it's funny. I got friends that moved up to Vermont. I go up there every once in a while. I helped them build their house, and I helped them remodel their house, and then I helped them build this massive garage. But I always seem to go up in the fall. I go on vacation to go work for them.
Well, you can take a vacation out here. I need to convert my garage into a print studio. So,
but I don't remember when it was, but I think it was mid-October. I go up, and me and my friend are working. His kids are hanging out. I'm like, "Why aren't the kids in school?" He goes, "First day of hunting season." I'm like, "Yeah, so school's closed for the next 3 days." It's like, what? The schools in Vermont close for the opening 3 days of hunting season.
Oh yeah.
I believe it. They do the same thing in Utah.
New to me.
School doesn't necessarily close out here, but the absent is excused during hunting seasons. All they have to do is show a tag.
That's just insane. Then when I moved out to Long Island, I realized that not only do all the schools close for all the Christian and Catholic holidays, they close for all the Jewish holidays too.
Yeah.
Like all of them.
Yeah, back when we were going to school, you had to go to school all the time.
Yeah. No Columbus Day off.
No.
You got Thanksgiving.
You were lucky to get Christmas.
Yeah. You got Thanksgiving, Christmas, and only if there wasn't any snow. If there was a snow day or something before Christmas, they shortened Christmas holiday for us. Then you had February vacation, which was a week. Now it's 2 weeks. Although we did have a February vacation and a spring vacation, we used to have like a 3-day long weekend kind of thing in April, which they don't have anymore. And now it's like, oh my God, we'd get a foot of snow and they'd be like, well, we should probably call school, you know? Now they get like a dusting and they're like, oh my God, there's snow on the ground.
Oh, hey, yeah, around here anymore, they just forecast snow and they close.
Yeah. Well, you know what? On defense of the school systems that are calling it, we've had so many lawsuits because kids got hurt walking to school or getting a ride or the bus slides. And they, people sue the school. It's like, why didn't you call school? Because we're not pansies.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, you ran outside with a tape measure and measured the snow. If there wasn't 4 inches, you knew the bus was rolling up with chains.
Yep. 4 inches. Yep. Wow.
And I remember
at least 4 inches before they'd cancel school.
You had to lose an entire ruler in our snow before they would close it.
Yeah, well. We had the same thing. It had to be at least 4 inches or more to cancel school. And I remember the days when our bus drivers had to do the true wraparound chains, and they did them themselves. Now they got them stupid whips that just drop down and run around and catch underneath the tire.
Yeah.
They're actually kind of cool. I actually like those things. You ever seen the snow path those things leave?
Yep.
It is freaking cool watching those things work.
Yeah, it
they
looks
like
like
sweep the road as they go around.
Street sweeper just went down the road.
Dude, you got one of them light wall things behind you. Is that actually light up?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one of them. I think. When
I
they first
think
started
it's
coming
right.
out, I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of stupid. What's the point? And I looked at them. I'm like, it's kind of cool.
They are really cool, actually. I gotta say, I got it for Christmas. I really enjoy it. But you can make them too.
Mine's
that's what I was gonna
mine's
do.
not as fancy. See, I got right there.
That's actually what I've been thinking about doing. Is something. I don't really know if I want the triangles because everybody's got the triangles.
Well, they have square ones
I want
now,
to do like
too.
I kind of like what 3D printing noob did with his map and did it around the border.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of doing something like that.
Okay,
Okay,
my
you can
room.
take that off because it's bleaching out your camera.
Yeah, I know.
Is it that bright or is the camera just that sensitive?
It's a brand new MacBook camera. What do you think? 720p.
Well, so it's probably that sensitive of a camera.
Yeah, it's a 10-year-old camera, like you said.
What do you think here, Tom? Here, let me get some light down here and blind the camera a bit.
Where'd that come from?
Fill a blend.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really tell. It just looks purple from every angle.
Yeah, I wasn't real impressed.
There's a couple of colors I noticed that aren't great with
I
it.
just got these.
Yeah,
2 of them.
I got more of these. This is one of the samples.
Yeah, that's all I ever use for the samples.
This
Yeah,
stuff
this
is
one,
crazy
this one
expensive.
was pink, white, and blue sparkle. But like I said, not the most impressive.
You know, the sample I got from Alien 3D was really good, actually. I made a pins with it, and it was really good. And so I haven't tried this yet. I'm scared to use it because if you have a failed print, you're gonna commit suicide.
Oh yeah,
Horribly
that stuff
expensive.
is brutal, isn't it? It prints nice though.
It does print nice.
Well, it's
Yeah.
just atomic, right? It's atomic
Yeah,
filament.
it's atomic filament.
Yeah, it prints nice.
Yeah, I got it in my wall of filament over there, and I'm scared to use it.
There's 2 things I did learn about fill a blend. You want to do a small segment of a print tower, and you want to print it at the coldest temperature it will print cleanly at. Because the higher the temperature, the more
More
it
melt.
will blend together.
Yeah.
The more liquid it becomes.
Yeah, I wonder if the mosquito magnum will affect it. You know, because that's what I have on my Prusa. I wonder if it'll be like a mixing pot for it.
Yeah, I would do like a 2020 cube, you know, is minimal amount of waste because that crap is so expensive.
I would love to see how they make this stuff because it looks like they split it in half. Like it's like spaghetti noodle split like in thirds, and then they melt it back together. But the tolerances are really good.
Yeah. Well, it's true. You know how you feed it through? From what I understand, because I actually met those guys at Earth last year, not this past one, but the first Earth ever. They were there. That's where I got mine. The way they explain it to me is they have 4 extruder lines, basically. They extrude the plastic in 3, bring it into another one, and then actually shape it in the last one.
And it stays like that, though? Because you'd think that would mix it.
It just like you and I are. They aren't using an actual corkscrew extruder. They're using like a regular, everyday hot end just built for 1.75.
I know it takes a lot of, there's nobody else doing it, so there's probably a reason why. But
yeah, it's not it's not easy.
Yeah, and it takes a while because they don't stock it; they make it to order.
Yeah.
Well,
they build up orders.
3 weeks to get.
They do stock some of the more favorites, like the red, white, and blue. They always have that in stock. And that's actually the best one, I think, color-wise.
Speaking of being in stock, Carl, how's your print kits coming?
The printer kit's not gonna happen.
You're not gonna do it?
No, Printed Solids patent lawyers basically told them don't do it.
Too corporate, man.
I don't know if it's MakerBot or if it's Black Belt or who it is, but they found patents that scared them enough that they decided they weren't going to do it. And I can't say I blame them because I don't want to see my favorite, 3D printing supply store go out of business because they decided to produce my printer and it bit them in the butt. But
hey, have you seen that MoldBot or the 3D printing world? It's called the Moldex. He's calling it on Twitter. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
Dude, it is one of the sweetest design printers I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen something that cool. It's an IDEX printer, Core XY IDEX,
Okay.
and all the motors are mounted behind it remotely. All of them, the Z motor, the X and Y motors, the extruder motors, everything's mounted behind it, and it's got nimbles. But all the little trick stuff he did in the design, like tightening the belt, has all integrated little things built to print and place stuff that.
Yeah.
I mean. You got a 3D printing world. He's the guy who made the swords.
Yeah.
Dude,
snap-out sword.
It is one of the sweetest looking printers I've ever seen. Man, amazing printer. It's not a belt printer, but I mean, it's definitely really cool.
I'm just glad I finally got them printing good. I'm printing Mandalorian armor right now.
Are you still tuning those things?
Right now, I'm thinking I pretty much got them tuned.
Yeah.
At least for you're always going to have more prominent layer lines just because you're always printing basically at an overhang.
Right.
But, for what I'm printing, I got little tiny layer shifts where it pulled a little bit too much or something. But for the most part, look at this thing. The camera shows a little bit, but it's
that's neat.
It's pretty smooth. It's like, and then. This is full width on the Squire. That's if you saw, I posted a picture going, "Oops, I meant to say you can print off the edge of the belt." I was like an eighth of an inch off the edge to one side because the belt had shifted. I didn't realize it had shifted that much.
And that's a Bowden printer, or no?
What's that?
Is that a Bowden or direct drive?
I switched them over to. It's got Bowden tube feeding it. But I switched it over to, it's pretty much a Prusa style. I got like 200 millimeters of Bowden tube between the extruder and the hot end. And that, I think, was my biggest problem with quality on the White Knight, because when I printed that Thanos blade, it was a clogged nightmare. And I just couldn't get rid of this over extrusion. It kept doing when it would move from side to side. Switched it over to this. I switched over the White Knight to the Squire's print head design. And this rolled off it today.
Wow. That's awesome.
And this is what you can do different with that filler blend. You can make
it watermelon, right? That's the watermelon kind. The one in your left hand, Tom? That's the watermelon.
I don't know. They didn't have a name for it. They just called it red, gold, and blue, I think, or red, green, and blue.
Well, that was a sample I got from. Oh, maybe I got it from 3D Print Professor, but it was called watermelon.
Yeah, this is their normal blue, purple, and white. I think it is. And
Yeah.
that's on the camera, but it does change. It's very blue
Yeah.
here. It's very purple there. It's very white. But to get the spiral effect like this,
Yeah.
instead of standing your roll up like you normally would, instead of putting it on a stand like this, you lay it on the table and just let it pull off the roll like
What?
this.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So as it goes into the extruder, it twists as it's going up, because as it does this, it'll actually twist the end of it, trying to undo the coil.
Because it is
So
funny
you
when you
lay it flat on the table, feed it in, and it'll come out like this. Because
if you print a square, you'll see on each way the extruder goes, it's printing different colors.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like holding three markers. It's like holding three markers together and drawing. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what this did, and this still does that, because if you look, it's green on one side, blue on the other,
Yeah.
and red on the last. But it's spiraled too, and the spiral does it. If you watch, it's green, red, blue. The spiral actually changes color too, but
Didn't someone figure
because
someone figure that trick out
goes into
last year at Murph? Wasn't that when they figured that out? Someone was doing it last year at Murph.
I did that at Murph at Earth.
You did that? Okay.
I was the one that showed him how to do it, because I did it by accident, because when I got the sample, I had no way to support it, and it was actually pretty nicely coiled. So I just said, screw it, just set it on my desk and walked away, and came back, and this is what I had. I was like, what the hell happened? How did I get that? And at first I'm like, oh crap, that looks like crap. And then I thought about it, that actually looks pretty freaking cool. And then I did this one, and then I did another one of these that cracked, but I figured out.
I wonder if they use this red, this candy apple red from Atomic. That's what it looks like.
Well,
The mix in there.
At Earth, they were having issues because at Earth, again, last year, the only time I went to Earth, they were talking with Protopasta. They were going to get Protopasta and make fill a blend with Protopasta.
Oh my god, that'd be like hundreds of dollars.
Because the way they blend it, the Protopasta anneals in the extruder. Yeah. And it screws it all up on them, and it won't work.
Well, Protopasta will do that if you have the heat bed too hot. I forever had my heat bed at like 75 degrees, and I kept like, why is it? It won't stick to nothing, and it was cooking is what was happening. I took it down to 40, and it was fine.
Yeah.
So.
Layers won't adhere as well either if you over temp it.
Right. I love Protopasta.
Yeah, I come and go with it. I have a bunch of it. I like it.
The whole row down there is full of it, but yeah, it's expensive and it's like hard to justify,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how many?
I know nothing about using expensive filament.
Yeah, screw you, line second.
Yeah.
The wall of polyalchemy behind me. Oops.
Yeah.
Well, and you're a Protopasta guy too, right? You did that with your printer, right? Because I built my printer. By the way, my Prusa is all built out of Protopasta also, and it has stood up for almost 2 years maybe or since the MK3 came out. I changed it all to the burnt orange, the Tom's burnt orange.
Yeah.
I mean that's I didn't anneal it either. And did you anneal yours? Or
nope.
No. Yeah, because it's strong, man.
Yeah, I did the HTPLA, and I did most of the load-bearing parts at like 85%, but I never annealed it because I didn't want to deal with having to calculate on the shrinkage and everything. So,
yeah, that Prusa is strong as hell.
Every one of my printers is PLA. I tried ABS, and the PLA is stiffer and stronger.
The only part I've ever had any issue with is this one here. That was square at one point.
Yeah, you know what though, that the red is tricky. Out of all the Protopasta, I've had the hardest problem with red.
This is actually my Knights War red, but
that's Josh's filament, right?
What's that?
That's Josh's filament, right?
Yeah. I think it's Hero 3D, but this one here is the stepper bracket for the Squire, and the roller is over here. So not only do you have all the pressure of the belt pulling against it, the Z stepper gets hella hot. I have to put fans on them to keep them cool. It got so hot it literally just softened it up and it shifted on me. I'm hearing this grinding noise. I'm like, what is that? And I realized that the wheel was rubbing against the plastic and it's making this squealing noise.
Whoa.
I'm like, okay, well,
That's weird because
I had to change the design up and give it some more airspace. And
I
was gonna say on the red Protopasta, the Chuck Hellebuck red. I'll show you something. I made this guitar amp. I designed it myself and printed it. Getting this to print, I mean, I almost spent a whole roll trying to get this to print. I just could not get it to. It was either clogged, or it would peel off the bed. And even this one peeled off the bed a little bit. But it was just a royal pain in the ass. I don't know what it is. The red, I struggle with the red for some reason. The blue is great.
With the purple, that really dark
Yeah,
Empire Strikes Back purple. I ended up giving it away. I could not print with it.
Well, that was all before I went all mosquito. So like every printer, my Delta over here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but
mosquitoes.
But my Delta is all mosquito.
I hate you, by the way.
My Prusas are mosquito, and then this is a Sidewinder with one on it too.
I still hate you. You and your freaking mosquitoes.
But I love those hot ends solved I don't think I've had a jam since I've had them. I mean, I can't even think. I even PET G's, ABS, nylon. I mean, those things are bulletproof, I think. But
you've been fortunate.
Yeah, I hear these stories.
I love mine, but figuring out how to run them without getting clogs. Yeah, I destroyed a heat break on my first one.
Well, Josh has the same problem on his rail core. He had a mosquito that kept jamming, and then he decided he was going to go to a Magnum to help the jamming problem, which made it worse.
Yeah.
But the only time I've ever had a problem is my Magnum. When I had it, I put the Magnum on the Artemis thinking that it would be a great, high volume, 0.8 nozzle printer. It did not work. For some about the Bowden and the Magnum together, it jammed like right out the gate. And so I took it off right away and I never put it back on. Now I got it on my Prusa. I mean, it is like butter, man. It's just printing thousands of hours with no problems at all. So I don't know.
The biggest thing I learned with the mosquito is, and a lot of people do this anyways, I learned anytime you're going to do a filament change, like your printer is stopped and you turn it off and you put it away, never ever heat it up and just try to retract first.
Yeah,
you have to extrude like 10 millimeters and then pull it back. All right.
Well, the other issue with them is that throat or the stainless steel tube. I don't think people realize how fragile that is. And like, I've had print filament that's swelled, and when it hits the top of that tube, just the power of the extruder pushing the Bondtech pushing it on there, it'll crumple. It'll crumple that entire thing like a straw.
Oh, wow.
And so that's what happened to Josh. Josh's is like that right now. His is crumpled. I've broken several heat breaks because the Bondtechs are brutal. They're violent, So if something goes wrong, it'll crumple it. But Slice has been great, man. Like every time I've had a problem, I've cracked 2 heat breaks. He says I'm the only guy that's ever done that. I don't know if that's true or not, but he immediately sends out new ones right away. So, and I like it because I can use the same stuff on all these different brands of printers. It makes all the printers the same. So
yeah, that is a good thing.
Yeah,
they're nice. They're just way out of my price range.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get my Copperhead. I want to give that thing a try.
That's what's on my Artemis right now. It's really good.
Lucky you.
Doing all that crap I said.
Yeah. I got a beta. I do a beta, or they send me beta stuff for whatever reason, and so I got the Copperhead right when they announced the Kickstarter. I don't want to brag, but I was in the Kickstarter video. This print was in there. So, so they sent me a Copperhead, and it's awesome because it threads right onto a V6 heat break. I mean, you don't have to change anything else. It goes on to pretty much any hot end. Mass produced hot end at this point, but I have it on that Artemis. I love it. I like it because now I can switch my nozzle.
I bought the whole thing with their heat break just to.
Yeah, their heat break is really
how it is.
Their heat break's like nothing I've ever seen before. I'm not super experienced in this, but it's got an adjustable heat break, so you can adjust the Z height on it. So it has like a clamp, and so you can slide the Z probably 5 millimeters maybe, but you can adjust the heat break up and down. And my understanding is so when you have two of them, you can level them better. You can level the Z height better. Who did? I did.
Oh well.
Oh,
I think everybody did for me for a second.
Yeah. But the Copperhead heat break is pretty awesome. It's all adjustable. So
yeah, the heat break on this here thing is kind of wimpy, I think.
Is that a Hemera?
Yeah.
I'm not on board with the Hemera thing at all.
Oh, I love this thing, dude.
I don't get it.
I can't understand why they go for they build this what they consider to be this awesome combination hot end extruder setup and everything, and then they put the bulky heavy duty stepper instead of the pancake on there.
That's exactly it.
I really wish they'd put a pancake on it.
Because I'm still a firm believer in the less mass on my hot end carriage, the better. If I could have got this thing to print and be reliable with the Bowden and no stepper motor and extruder on the hot end, I would have left it that way.
See, I'm with you in the sense of I'd like to reduce the weight. I'll take the weight over a Bowden tube any day. I hate Bowden extruder. Every Bowden extruder I've had, I've gotten rid of.
After this experience, I would have to agree with you. After what I went through with the White Knight, trying to get that thing to print right, and how much it's night and day. I wish I had some prints that were unfinished from the White Knight before I did the change, but
this is my original Mosquito here.
You're
I cleaned it all up, but this is the one that had the heat break crumple, and so I just rebuilt it. So a new heat break, new screws, and this one I bought a Magnum heat break. And the cool thing about these is you can take this apart and you can go back and forth between a Magnum and a regular one.
Yeah, the Magnum's just
good luck doing that. I thought that too. Good luck getting that heat shield off of the Magnum without shattering it when you go to change over.
Yeah, I've done it a couple times, but they haven't been that dirty. So that's, in fairness, I haven't tried that hard. But
you just heat it up, dude. Hit it with a torch.
You see all the. It's not about heating it up. It's like a. What is that? What is it? What is it made out of, Carl? It's like
asbestos or something. Or ceramic or.
It's ceramic.
Yeah, it's like something. It's like cancer causing.
I took everything apart. I went to pop it off, and I'm like, okay, I'll just slide this up, and I barely touched it, and it just shattered. I'm like,
yeah,
wow, okay.
I keep getting these in the mail. They send me these. I don't know what the differences are, but
you get too many of those, you can send a couple to me.
Yeah. Well, I promised Josh that I have rebuild his.
I still have Josh's Mosquito hot end somewhere around here.
Well, he's going to send me his. I told him to send me his Magnum. So this is one I thought I broke. I thought I broke this one, but it was just loose. So I replaced it, and I found out I just didn't tighten it enough. So, yeah. Is that Josh's?
This is the first one that he clogged to the point he couldn't do anything with it. I just put it on my bench and took my.
Heated it up, right?
My torch and my soldering iron to it, and I kept heating it up until I got everything pulled out of it.
Have you used it?
I haven't used it yet. No, I'm a little leery of the heat break. I'm afraid I'm going to use it and it's just going to clog again because I know they've got a coating on it. You scratch that coating at all and it's done.
Let's see it. Let me see it again.
It's dirty as all hell. He had this thing completely caked.
Oh man, that doesn't look that bad.
That's as clean as I can get it now.
He shouldn't have went to a Magnum. That was a mistake for him. Because the Magnums are way more prone to clogging than the Mosquito is.
But I sometime here I'll give it a try. I've got the CRX. It's soon to be a CR10S Pro, and the other Pro over there. One of these days I'll get around to printing the adapter and.
To me, when I get that Mosquito, it just feels like good quality. I love it. I'm an Apple guy, so to me, it's very Apple. It's very tactical, or just the feel of it in your hand is awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. And I like that they're an American company.
Yeah.
So Tom supports British people. I support Americans.
I'd like to support Americans. I just can't afford to.
You support British people and Japanese or Chinese people. It's no big deal. I'm not holding it against you.
I didn't support the Chinese, either one. Somebody else. I did not pay for either one of these. One of them I got for Christmas, and the other one I won. This one I won in a contest.
So my issue with that, besides the motor, is the proprietary gear on the stepper motor is going to be a problem. So and the fact that they didn't put a set screw on it is just stupid.
On what?
I mean, all these people that are having slipping gears, like if they'd have put a set screw on it like they should have, it wouldn't have been an issue.
They're not split. They're not slipping. They're cracking.
Well, either way, I don't know. Something's wrong with them.
They were molded incorrectly. They're brittle, and they're replacing them all.
Hey, would you buy? Hey, let me ask you this: what kind of car company do you like, Tom? Do you like Chevys or Fords or what?
Any car. I'm not really particular anymore.
So if you had all your money to go buy a brand new Chevy and you go on the lot, you test drive it, everything's good, and then you get out and you notice that on the badge on the back they spelled Chevrolet wrong, would you still buy it?
No.
Then why'd you buy that?
Because they can't spell.
My whole theory is if they couldn't take the time to get the packaging right, I don't want it.
I don't know, dude. I've always liked direct drive. It reminds me very much of my MK8, which is that thing is freaking bulletproof as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'd like to try it. I mean, I'm not totally against it. I'm worried that what's going to happen when things break, because E3D stuff's not cheap, and so if that gear breaks or the motor needs replaced, or
it's actually not though, because I've already bought replacement parts. Because my biggest concern is that heat brake it's way thinner than any heat brake I have. I mean, it's like the mosquito heat brake, but the mosquito heat brakes, you have the bolts going from the heat block to the case. This does not feel supported on any heat brake. The heat brake's $12. The block, the whole thing, you can buy all the parts. Josh has all the parts. The head is only like $25. I was looking at it. I was thinking about it because I think if I priced everything, I could actually source one cheaper than buying it all.
Mm-hmm. Well, because really, when you think about it, there's nothing. The special part is the top part, right?
Just the head.
Yeah.
Well, everything is special. I mean, the motors are special. Everything's special, but
I just like the mosquito, like the copper heat blocks, and I don't like the aluminum blocks.
I've had some proprietary. I mean,
on my Prusa,
more proprietary than that thing.
On my Prusa, I've taken that thing apart 1,000 times, and it's still got the same 50-watt heater and thermistor that it came with it. Because every time since the mosquitoes, I can just tap them out with a little screw and they come right out.
Yeah. And
every E3D I had, you destroy shit because you can't get them apart. Once they've been used and abused, like trying to get the little set screws out and the aluminum strips.
Problems like that. I've taken this thing apart. I mean, granted, I've taken this one apart probably 3 or 4 dozen times just because I'm one of those that likes to take shit apart. So
but just
I haven't even run it yet, and I've taken this thing apart at least 2 or 3 dozen times.
But the aluminum's so prone to stripping, and
what's prone to stripping?
The aluminum block.
Might be putting just a tad bit too much.
I've never stripped one of these blocks.
Yeah, I've stripped them.
Really, the first real E3D one I've ever had. Carl's got my only other true E3D stuff, and that's just I bought a clone V6 and then bought
never stripped one though?
E3D heat brake.
You've never stripped a nozzle on a block?
No.
Oh.
I've snapped nozzles out of a block. I've snapped brakes out of a block. I've never
got my Prusa, I heated it up and I tightened the nozzle, and then I left it hot, and I could feel like there was a little slack in it. I didn't realize you're supposed to let it cool down and it'll tighten back up.
Yeah.
And so I kept cranking on it because it wasn't getting tight, and I knew it was up against the heat brake, but I couldn't get it tight enough, and I was brand new with it. But anyways, I stripped the block out, and I thought it took almost no pressure when it was hot.
What the hell nozzle were you using?
Just the E3D brass nozzle.
The brass should give out before the. Well, no, the brass is a little harder than aluminum.
I also had it like 260 or 250
Yeah,
or
there you go.
something like that. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna go to bed. But it was
Yeah.
nice talking to you.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Nice talking to you guys. Thanks.
Now we have a Carl shoulder.
I hate it when you switch to that view because then I gotta.
It did it automatically. I didn't do it.
Did we look? What happened to the names across the bottom?
They were talking about that tonight. When you put the banner up, see how it says the little thing?
It gets rid of all the names.
Those because it always seems to run across the one person on the bottoms. So they have it.
Well, who cares about the Oscars?
Nobody. That's why I do this. Obviously somebody, but yeah, I was actually wondering because I watched their stream tonight, StreamYard's Sunday stream, and that's one of the things everyone was talking about. And they're talking about making the name tags movable in each of our windows, so you could put it up in the top left corner. So then it wouldn't, because like if I put the ticker on right now and our names would stay up, Michael's would get run over from the ticker.
Yeah, I could just see it now if they figure out how to make it to where you can position it wherever you want. I see people placing it in very unusual locations.
Yeah, like
I could totally see
their
Jerry,
naked over your crotch.
I could see Jerry getting on a stream shirtless and having it run straight across here,
Yeah.
like.
That's something I don't want to see. It's like what's his name when they were doing the Friday night stream there, and he got on stream when he was in the freaking bathtub.
Oh, I know.
I still can't get that nightmare image out of my head. I did not need to see that.
JMT in the tub was not something I needed to see.
No, me neither. No, that should have been balked.
Yeah, Joe, if you're watching, please don't ever do that again.
Really, just don't do it. That was downright scary. I mean, he's a funny guy, but
How's that go again, Tom?
yuck. How's that? Don't do it. He's kind of disappeared altogether. I mean, I know he had the kid and everything, but I haven't seen him around doing even like on Twitter or anything anymore. He's just kind of like falling off the face of the earth. Well, I noticed Twitter's doing the dropping people, you're friended with or linked to or whatever on Twitter if you haven't communicated with them in like 6 months. I also noticed all my subscriptions or whatever tweet people on Twitter has like halved in the last 6 months, just automatically on its own.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get back into Twitter. I actually remembered how to log in. Don't know how I did that, but I finally got logged back in.
Facebook, I wish they'd freaking delete some of them people I don't talk to anymore. I'll tell you, there's a difference between, I mean, I hear people bitching about Twitter and, the attitude on Twitter. At least with the people I talk to, I'll take Twitter over Facebook any day of the week. 90% of everybody on Facebook is, I hate Trump, I love Trump, libertards, Trump heads, whatever. I don't care. Enough of that on the news. I don't need to hear your BS opinions from either side. I just don't care.
You just want to close your eyes and
Well,
take you straight to November 3rd, right?
I don't go on Facebook for that kind of stuff. Honestly, the best thing on Facebook are the stupid cat and dog videos. I'm sorry, it is. It's awesome. People can say, oh, that's dumb. It is dumb. It's still humorous. It's still fun to watch. I enjoy watching dumb pet videos. I'm sorry. It's entertaining. Sometimes I'd rather watch that than some of the stupid movies that are out these days.
Oh, well, I haven't watched a movie in quite some time. At least not anything that's new. All of the stuff I watch is movies or Roku on my Roku that are, at least 10 years old.
I've watched all the Avengers movies, and getting toward the end, everyone was getting all fanatical about it. I'm like, why? This isn't even. I mean, I like them. I will say I like them because I'm into the whole special effects, and that's kind of what I went to college for. When I went to college, that's what I wanted to do. There wasn't that even available when I went to college. So, but that's kind of what I leaned toward when I went into graphic arts and computer arts, and that's what I did. But computer arts when I was in school was you printed it out on a big stinky photocopy machine, and then you cut it with a knife and you put it on paper, and then you took it to the plate maker and you made a plate. There was no
more printing skills than
yeah, you didn't hit a button and it popped out over here on your printer.
Yeah.
You went to a printing press and you burned a plate and you made negatives, and you laid out your text all individually. Animation in computers were, you wrote for the Commodore 64 or the Apple IIs in Xcode or Basic X, and it was draw a line, erase a line, draw a line, erase a line, draw a line, erase a line, and you wrote the code.
I made a version of War Games on the Apple IIe using 4 next statements to draw the missile command.
Well, I remember when the 4 next statement came out. Before the 4 next statement, it was draw, X draw. There was no 4 next.
Yeah.
If you wanted to animate something, you drew it, and then on the other side, you erased it. And that's how you animated it. There was no 4 next code. It was draw, X draw, draw, X draw, draw, X draw.
God, that reminds me of a randomizer code that I did, that I wrote for, what kind of computer was it? I think it was a Timex computer. And all it did was cause the dot to go.
Yeah. I actually wrote
around the screen. That's it. Took me 16 hours to write that code.
I wrote a game. It wasn't really a game because all you could do was shoot. Well, I guess it was still a game. We had to write a code for a piece of animation. Now, when I went to school, my brother was already in college for computer sciences. So he was way ahead of my teachers. So I was learning more from my brother on the freaking phone at night. And he taught me how to do animation on the Macs. Because back then, Mac and PC really weren't all that different. They were both using some sort of DOS, whether it was ProDOS or, Apple DOS or whatever the hell they called it. Anyway, the basic ideas of it were very similar, and he taught me how to do it. So I designed this game where you drove up a tank, and it wasn't even a tank. It was basically a half a tank with a little barrel, and there was a tree. And the little squirrel's eyes would come up, and you had to shoot him before he ducked back down into his hole. With a tank. You're shooting a squirrel with a tank. It's like, let's see. You can just blow up the whole tree.
No overkill there, huh?
How are we talking without getting feedback? It actually goes through StreamYards does it.
Yeah, I remember I had a computer teacher. At the beginning of the year, he's like, okay, special project. He goes, everybody create password protection for your computer. And back then, everything, of course, it was on your boot floppy. But create password protection, boot up your computer in your password protection, and we'll see who can break into, if anybody can go without anybody breaking their password protection, you get an extra A on your grade. So everybody starts doing basic password protection, everything, and you could always get around it by hitting, Alt Escape or whatever, and reboot it, or Control Alt Delete. And I sat there and I took the time and I found a QBasic machine code book, and I locked out all the override keystrokes. So once I booted up, you were done. The only way you were getting past my password was to kill the power, slap another floppy in, and boot up. Well, I went a week. Every time we'd spend the first 10 minutes trying to break in everybody's computer, and then, okay, go back to doing your projects. And I would type in a bunch of code and go to hit save, IO error, and I couldn't save, and I'd try everything. For like a week, I did that until someone finally figured out that the minute anybody hit Alt Escape or Control Alt Delete or anything else, any of the command stroke keys, the computer system wouldn't allow it to work, but the minute you did that, killed the IO processor. So if I rebooted, I'd be fine. But if anybody tried to break into my computer when I walked away, I wouldn't be able to save everything. I lost so much work.
Wonder as StreamYards has a built-in like noise canceling feature. Anything it knows it's feeding in or out directly, it automatically cancels out, so your mic won't pick it up. Now, if I started watching this on YouTube Live with the sound on, where there's a 3 or 4 second delay, then we'd get an echo because it wouldn't sense that. Just so you know. He was asking why we're not getting an echo, even though none of us are wearing headphones.
Yeah. Also, it's all a matter of how you aim your mic, too. Like, you've got the shield on the back of your mic.
Yeah.
The Snowball, I've got it turned so the back of it's to the speakers. Now, if I were to pull it right in front of the speaker and face the speaker, I bet I would get feedback.
Yeah, if you get direct, if you're overamping it. But like I said, StreamYards has a built-in. Matter of fact, they were talking about that because they're making it now. If you do wear headphones, you can turn off. If you go into the settings for the mic, you can turn off the auto sampling, and your audio quality like skyrockets. They say it's like way better audio quality. And I'm like, but yeah. Who cares? My voice is obnoxious enough. You really don't need to hear it any clearer.
Needs to be on a good enough filter anyway, right?
Yeah, I need to filter out some of it.
Well, gentlemen,
video and a voice for sign language.
Yeah, if you're setting up StreamYards OneRes, you can go in. If you're going to wear headphones, go into your settings and turn off audio sampling because you'll get a much cleaner, clearer audio. But you can't have your TV or your monitor or whatever speakers going. It has to be in your headphones. And they say even if you have a boom mic coming off your headphones, if it's a really sensitive boom mic, you still might need to turn it on because some of those boom mics will pick up your headphones because it's really, really, really sensitive. They were just talking about that tonight on their town hall thing they had tonight.
Yeah.
They're talking about kicking up the audio to like 44K sampling instead of the 22 they have now or whatever. I'm not that big on the audio end of things.
So, gentlemen, I've been up way too long today.
Yeah.
So I need to head to bed and get me some sleep before I have to wake up in 2 hours and go check cows.
I was going to bolt too, but if OneRaz wants to jump in real quick, if he's setting up, he's got equipment and test it out, he can jump in.
Giving me flashbacks, Michael. Go check cows. I did that the first 18 years of my life.
Yeah, well, I'm in the middle of calving season, so
thank you.
2 hour watch.
I grew up on a dairy farm. I don't ever want to go back to doing that.
I grew up on a dairy farm myself, so I know exactly the feeling. So
get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to milk the cows.
Yeah. Now the problem is I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, no matter what.
Yeah. So 20 years in the military, I still wake up at 5:30 in the morning, regardless whether it's my day off or not.
Yep. Yeah. I'm usually people laugh. They're like, "Why do you get up so early?" I'm usually on a job site by 6 o'clock in the morning, so I have to be up by 4:30 or 5. I'm not one of those who can get up and just get in the car and go.
Oh no!
I gotta wake up and have a cup of coffee and relax and watch the news and
sit back and watch a couple of YouTube videos that I missed.
I'd have to get up in 2 hours before I went to work if I was going to do that. No way. I like my sleep.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
Later, man.
See you later.
You want to jump in, Raz, before I kill it?
So I
hang out for a little bit.
I had this genius idea the other day, and I got to figure out where to get enough desk kit to do it. I've got this closet freezer at the back of the maker studio here, and I bought it when I first bought the house because when I was in Utah, I used to keep it full of steak and fruit and everything. And I got here and I haven't stocked it but once since I moved in, so it's pretty much gone to waste. I sit there thinking I could turn that into dry storage for filament. All the like nylons and carbon fibers that are extra sensitive to moisture. I figure if I throw like a 5-pound bag of desiccant in the bottom tray and then just stock the shelves with filament and shut the door, it should be good. And it shouldn't get all musty smelling because of the desiccant.
There's really not much to get used to, Wonder Rats. Just come on. I mean, it's just us BSing. You need a camera and a microphone, and most cameras have the microphone built in, and you point it at you and you yak at us, and that's that. Me and Carl doesn't have any. I mean, you're actually using a camera microphone too, right? Or do you have a boom mic too?
No, I've got my snowball.
Oh, you do have a snowball?
I actually thought about hooking this up and giving this a shot because I had people complain about my audio on a couple of my videos.
Yeah.
So I got the lavalier, and the last one I did when I had to walk around, I used the lavalier, and everybody commented that the sound was better. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got to. If I'm going to do videos, I got to wear the lavalier now.
Here, just jump in here for a minute, Wonder Rats.
I was gonna
your cameras and mics and stuff. It's actually better to
film the conversion.
Sorry. Better jump into someone else's for a minute, Wonder Rats, to set up your cameras and your mics, I found, and then go to your own streams. Because it's hard to tell on your own stream if your mic's set up right or how loud it is, because it won't feed back to you.
Yeah, I thought about filming the conversion for the CRX and decided I just was not in the mood to deal with constantly moving the camera, and that was, and I didn't know what I was doing. This was I've been winging it. I bought the board and whatever parts I figured it was different between the CRX and the CR10. And
have you seen my printers?
What's
Every
that?
single one of mine is winging it. I just go, I need a part there, and I go,
yeah.
I go, I can make something work.
Yeah, like I don't know that. It's like, hold on, there's a build manual for making belt printers. Oh, there is, but I wrote it.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about this the other day. Someone was talking to me about, Fusion, and someone was bitching about how hard it is. I'm like, it's not that freaking hard. And I was thinking about it. It's like you and a couple other people that I've helped along the way. Not that I really taught you anything, but a couple of times you asked me a question when you were first starting out in Fusion. Almost everyone I've helped or taught anything about Fusion has far exceeded me. I mean, you are way better at it than I am now. I'm very basic still. I can pretty much
Fusion. I should have brought this up earlier. Who was on here with? Is Michael and who else?
Oh, now you had to ask.
Was that Lightspeed?
Lightspeed, yeah.
Okay. He had all the Bruces in the back. I don't know if he's still listening to chat or not. I meant to pull this up earlier and got sidetracked. Working on something. I'm not going to start actually building until after Murph, just because I'm too busy printing stuff. I spent all the time between Murph and Earth doing the Squire, and I said I'm going to do some of what I want to do, and I'm making my darn Mandalorian costume and a few other things, and I'm going to have that electric guitar for Murph hopefully, but I've been working with Chris Warkaki. He's going to probably hook me up with a bear kit. Now I'm going to give it back to him when I'm done, and probably a bill for the other parts that I get. But let me pull this up here.
Why is he giving you a bear kit?
I will show you why.
I think you should give it to me.
And I'll actually tell him, just give me the electronics, because I'm probably just going to go ahead and order all the extrusion and do this myself. But I want to, if I do what I want to do, I'm going to get with Jason from LDO and say, look, see if he can get the some extrusion custom cut for me and then anodize it all.
Oh, what do you want to colorize one of your?
Oh, yeah, and I want him to make me a darker purple. I'm going to send, if I have to, I will send him a sample of Polyalchemy Nightshade and be like, match this purple.
Well, you should just have to add a little red to it. It should darken it up to that. I don't know why you don't just anodize it yourself. It's not really that hard.
Don't have the equipment.
You don't really need anything but a couple of buckets, an electrode, and some colorant and some acid crap there. What do you call it?
Okay,
You
so
basically just put it in the freaking liquid and you add juice, a battery to it. Take a freaking car battery, drop it in with a couple copper contacts and whatever colorant you want, and you just let it sit there, and aluminum absorbs the color.
now, before I share the screen, I just started messing with this, and yes, I realize the rollers right now are running right through extrusion because I'm still sizing everything up.
Yeah, we don't care.
But
Hey, there's one round. Hang on, one round. We're gonna a belt printing Prusa, but
Yeah,
that's
it
going to be
won't
a flat belt. It's not at an angle.
no, it won't be for 45. This would be, I mean, this is exactly what MakerBot's patent is. You definitely couldn't sell this kit, but if I could publish it, if I get it set up, I could push it. This is for, I want to have 200 Maker coins in time for Murph. Load up 200, start the thing printing, and just walk away.
Yeah, but with that, you can only go so far, and then the extruder's going to bump into the last part.
Well, that's what I mean. What you got is you just got to figure out how far you need it to move. I mean,
Yeah, all right.
there's a way you use
guys
the
do that
auto drop to
calculation.
make it go, but I would just write myself a code where it's like, okay, I want to print 50 of this and make it to where it does the size of it and then shifts the belt so far, resets to 0, prints some more, shifts the belt, resets to 0.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's kind of like the calculations you need for that 4D, 3D printing where it goes up and waves around. They have to calculate how far the nozzle is to the head and the rest of the printer so it doesn't bump into anything.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, I'd probably just go ahead and tell it advance far enough to just drop the coin off. It's like if you got to advance it 200, it's like, okay, yep, move 200 millimeters, start the next one, and the coin will fall off in the bucket. But you could set it and let it run. And
So you're going to use it more like an auto feed instead of or auto
a mass like
auto head removal more than a belt printer.
Yeah, like Chris Warcock, keeps making all those bear kits and everything where he prints all the pieces. He could load up all his pieces on one file, start it, and walk away.
Yeah, it's
and
like
come back and have a whole kit laying in a bucket when he comes back.
My buddy over here in Connecticut that's got that auto ejector that you print on it, and then this knife with a sledgehammer comes on, goes pop and pops the print off.
Yeah.
That one guy had one that pushed the parts off, but
Yeah.
I didn't think how that would work so well because eventually something would just jam up on it.
No, it doesn't. He lives right down the road from me, like 5 miles away.
Thing is, I'm sure that works great for small parts. I want to see someone print a piece that has like a base that takes up the entire surface of the build platform. So like his little, like the airdrop guy had looked like a 150 by 150 print surface.
Yeah,
I want to see someone print a statue that takes up the whole print surface and then try to knock it off with that scraper. It's not going to be pretty. Something's going to break, and it's either going to be the print or the printer.
or both.
Yeah, or both. It'll try to clear. It'll break the print. It'll come back, and then it'll start printing on top of the print, and just
Well, I could
a big melted blob.
I could see if they were using a belt assembly type, and at the end, it takes the belt to go up and down, that could pop itself loose.
Hard to get the belt to go up and down though, because you have to have something pushing it down, and if you did that, then the print would hit it.
Yeah.
Usually, just going. Most of my parts, just running over the edge is enough to break it loose. You might get. It's funny too, because I've watched parts. That's why I made the little peelers on the back of mine. I've watched.
Lost you, Carl. Your video went dead. No, your audio is dead.
I thought for a second there it was me.
There we go.
First.
Are we all back now? Okay.
Yeah,
But I watched
you're-
a piece come around the end and holding by one layer, hit the table, and it wedged perfectly. It actually stopped the belt from moving. That one layer held enough to make the belt skip. Because the stepper is almost maxed out just driving that big belt. The minute you give it any resistance,
You just chew that belt up.
I can push 15 kilos on the belt, but the minute it jammed, I couldn't believe one little layer was enough to stop it. So now I just make it to where it kicks, put a little peeler on the end so it just kicks it out like this, and then when it comes around, it just falls right off.
Yeah.
I had I think you saw me at Murph last year where I had the little bucket. The coins were popping off and landing in the bucket.
Nope. Not me. I wouldn't have.
Not I.
It was funny. It was taking about, I think it was like every 15 minutes one would fall off. And I had this tiny little bucket and the pallet was in the way. So the part would come off the peeler, hit the pallet and bounce. I had the little bucket set to where 90% of the time it would land in the bucket. So everybody's sitting there. I could be sitting there talking and everybody's watching and waiting for it to fall. And it finally falls and you hear this, yeah, or oh. You know, it hit the floor if everybody just went, oh.
That's it.
You're able to print a coin in 15 minutes?
I was printing with a 0.8 nozzle on vase mode. And I was printing. Where'd they go?
Whoa.
And it was like 15 or 20 minutes, something like that. I think it was 20 minutes. It was 20 minutes a piece. They're just running down the belt.
So now we need to make an E3D tool changing squire.
You know what I say to that, right?
Go screw, do it your damn self. Leave me to hell.
Yeah, you build your own and make sure you share everything you learn on the GitHub so everybody else can make one too.
Has anyone actually started making squires or the white knights yet?
There's a few people out there that are making white knights. There's at least one kid says he's acquiring all the pieces. Is it 3D Printing Lab? I think it is. He's got almost all the pieces acquired. The only thing he was waiting on was like the $100 and some worth of screws he's got to buy.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna supposedly live stream it as he builds. You know, do a stream here, a stream there until it's all put together. And I'm sure he's gonna do something. He's gonna get to the point where it's like, okay, hey,
No.
and I'm gonna get a message. Hey, Carl, I need you on the live stream because I'm stuck.
Yeah. Well, what do you got? Like 30 freaking class videos now?
32, and that's to do the white knight. There's a few differences between the knight and the squire that I didn't film, and for me to do that, I would have to build another one. And let me think about it a second. Now I don't want to build another one. I've had people beg me to build knights or squires, and I got to the point where I had a few people really pushing, and I said, all right, fine. I'll consider it, but I want X amount. The minute I threw a dollar amount on it, and everybody decided they didn't want to buy one anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be a couple of grand just to source the parts.
Well, it's $2,000 in parts.
Yeah.
And then my time ain't cheap.
Nope. Another $2,000.
I was being nice. I was looking about. I hadn't decided I needed this. I said I'd never punched a clock when I built it. I said somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 to assemble it.
Well, you think about it, it's not terrible though to get that. I mean, an Ultimaker is that much.
Exactly.
I'll take that.
The problem is I told everybody, the people that said I sent a message to the couple people that said they wanted them. And one person never answered me. One person said, yeah, okay, but I need to save my money, and I haven't heard anything from them since. And the other one went, dude, you waited too long. Because I had money saved. I was going to have, but you kept saying no, so I bought 3 other printers with the money I had saved to buy your one. And I'm like, okay, no problem. But
Yeah, no.
I
I
wish I had it.
personally, I mean, I could see someone wanting one of those. For me, I
Yeah, I wish I had
barely use
one
my
more.
build plate on any of these 300s. I mean, my llama cord is actually made to take a 450 or a 500 bed, and I still have a 300 on it. And I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, I really don't need any bigger than 300. I never use the 300. Very seldom.
You want to see funny?
I don't have the time or energy or money to waste that much filament. Just don't have, I mean, the filament cost would be outrageous.
Well, if you're filling a bed that big, yeah, man.
You know what this is?
A piece of build tack.
This is the first 500 cube or 500 by 500 build tack flex plate system.
Oh, nice. You can have it.
I bought it for the 500 D-Bot that I bought from David Randolph. I was going to build that into a 6-tool tool changer, and E3D took forever releasing their tool changer parts. And I got bored waiting on them. And I built the White Knight instead, and I took that thing for parts. I have all the parts printed in High Five to rebuild that as a D-Bot again. And I'll probably change it all up anyway, but I still want to build that back as a 500 cube printer at some point.
Yeah. I just don't.
I want to do it for, it's like, and I joke, I want to do it for one reason. I want to print a Captain America shield in one shot.
Yeah, but can't you do that on, well, I guess not, because they're not wide enough.
I think if I take it and I put it on an angle, I could do it. And then I want to print it all out of polyalchemy. So I can actually do the silver, the red, and the blue. And actually use what I've got. I think I have enough left to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you better be sure, because you can't get no more.
I've got 2 rolls of almost every color. I've got at least 2 spools of almost every color.
You know, I was playing with my polyalchemy the other day. Mine's starting to get brittle.
I didn't think that could happen. I've got stuff that's years old that still isn't brittle.
All of mine's years old.
Huh.
I bought it all pretty much within, 6-month time, probably 2 years ago when it first started really getting popular. When Printed Solid first started carrying it, I bought a boatload from them. I bought more at Earth. I got it from them at Earth last year.
Yeah.
So a year old or more. I honestly think the salt in the air here, where I live so close to the ocean, is doing something to it.
Huh.
I think my stuff gets more brittle because of it.
Because I've never had a problem getting brittle. I've got printer, the old Da Vinci's over there. The last thing I printed on the Da Vinci's was the Two-Face and the Fairy. It was the last thing I did on the Da Vinci's because I was using my dual extrusion. And I still have spools of it set on the back, like partials that are almost empty. And the filament, and I can go over there and bend it back and forth, and it still won't break.
Yeah.
I got several rolls, well, partial rolls. I survived from the fire that got wet, and in a year sitting out in the shed, it was really hot, so it dried it out, but it's gotten brittle. I still print with it.
Polyalchemy or?
No, just regular PLA.
Yeah. Regular PLA. Polyalchemy is like elastic almost. It's borderline TPU like. You got to play with polyalchemy. That's the one thing even the other silks don't do. When you extrude it and then you stop and it climbs back up into your extruder. You're watching that worm like shrink back up.
I don't know how long ago he put this on your RCCNC. He made a comment that I need gear reduction. Yeah. I'm actually running 5-to-1 gear reduction on the White Knight and the Squire now on the steppers, and it still struggles.
Well, what the hell are you using for steppers? They just NEMA 17s? So it's a geared NEMA 17.
Yeah, it's a 5-to-1. This one here, I don't know what this one is. This is actually a hybrid they made me. I don't think it's going to be strong enough, but I had them do this for me for one reason. I actually wanted to make it to where the stepper would fit inside the 4080 extrusion.
No, that's cool. The only problem with that, I think, is,
Jason made me this hybrid one just to see if it would work. I just haven't had a chance to play with it yet.
see, the only problem I see with that is overheating. I don't know if the aluminum would help conduct the heat away.
That's
or-
what I'm hoping. That was the plan. I was going to actually make it to where it's set flush against the aluminum extrusion, so it turned the extrusion into one heat break. Figure I just coat this with like Arctic Silver 5 or
Yep.
something like that, something that doesn't ever harden, and that way it could just sit and pull the heat off.
Well, the length you have of that, isn't there a possibility of it warping from the heat?
What's that? The extrusion?
The rod that you have the extrusion running back and forth on.
I don't think so. This is a pretty heavy duty piece of extrusion.
Yeah. That is. All right, I'm gonna kill it, guys, because I gotta go to bed. It's late. It's 11:30 at night.
Yeah, I still got to
Well-
get a shower yet. So
Thanks for watching. 3D printing and painting just showed up.
sorry.
We're going home, going to bed, or getting offline and going to bed, or whatever. Tells you how tired I am, and I can't even think straight. So, thanks for stopping by. You can
Thanks
do
for
it.
having us.
One Raz. Is this like the first time you ever live streamed One Raz?
Well, on here, I have done some live streams on my site, but not with other people.
Wow. Didn't even know you live streamed. Didn't even know you had another channel.
Well, all my equipment was really old. An old cam and an old laptop, and the laptop died. So I eventually went ahead and broke down and bought a used one, which was like 3 times faster than my old one, to let me do this.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're out. Have a good night, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah. End broadcast.